So, do you remember the episode of My Thoughts So where I reviewed DuckTales? Yeah, well, in the comments section, one of the comments was from Daniel Gallagher, who is one of the most prominent commenters on my channel, but he said, "This seems random. How would you rank every Pixar film?" Of course, I replied, I would rank them by a tier list. Um, and he said, "What is your ranking though?" I don't really know right now. I'll pick my favorite, but that's where it ends. Maybe if I watch all of them in order, then my opinion might be reignited of them. Now, naturally, going in order would not seem fitting. But then I decided to continue and watch them in a random order by having someone else choose the film for me. And now it's all led up to this. I've seen every Pixar film, and now I'm going to rank all of them. That's right, I'm doing a Pixar ranking video. And this is going to be different from my usual rankings, where I'm not going to shorten stuff just to make the video, just a little bit shorter, just so I can fit a good runtime. No, I'm going to be talking about everything here. I'm not going to shorten anything. I'm going to give you the full shebang. Now, a couple rules. Has to be Pixar. That can't be a short film. That's it. Yeah, so without further ado, this is the tier list that I'm going to be using to make this. So S is amazing, A is great, B is good, C is decent and average, and D is okay. I didn't put E or F, and there's only one film in D, and I think you kind of know what it is, but I'm gonna keep it secret for now. But I bet you probably know what my favorite Pixar film is if you've seen my previous videos. But for now, let's begin. I'm going to be going through this in order, starting with the classic, Toy Story, released in 1995. This was the first ever computer animated film in history, and I think it's probably the most overrated Pixar film of all time. Yep, that's right, I said it. What are you going to do about it, huh? Yeah, so now I will say this. It's hysterical. I laughed so many times in this film. It's like so unbelievably hilarious. Every actor gives a delivery that's so good, and I like how sometimes it's very strong for a G rating. Also, the animation holds up kinda well, I guess. Of course, it is. Of course, I can't say the animation's bad, and I can't say it's a downgrade because, well, it is the first computer animated film ever. So, saying that the animation is bad and it kind of degrades the film from a higher rating is kind of, well, hypocritical when saying this is the first ever computer animated film. So I'll pass on that, but it does hold up. The main thing I don't like about this film is the character arc for Woody. In the other films, he has more compelling character arcs, but in the first one, it's just he's fueled by his jealousy. Now, don't get me wrong, I still find Woody very funny. I like mean spirited characters that have a reason for being mean spirited. He's driven by arrogance and cockiness and thinks he's better than everyone else. He's been driven to think like that, and that can happen to some people, but he becomes a more understanding toy. But I feel like the sequels have more unique messages that fit to toys. We'll get to those when we have to get to those. But Toy Story is just there. It's what I would call Pixar's magnum opus. My magnum opus is not their best film, but is their most important. Toy Story is their most important film to date, and I think we can all agree that it's not bad. Definitely not. I do think that could have been a little bit more better in the story department. I can't say the animation is bad though. And yeah, it's mainly the character, the story, and the character development that kind of drags the film down a bit. Also, I think its overindulgence has kind of made me not like it that much. But yeah, this goes in the bottom of the B tier. It is the by far the worst of the sevens, but that does not mean it's bad. And we go from Pixar's magnum opus to their magnum anus. Yeah, I talked about this film in a previous review where I compared this to Ants. Ants is better. But I've said time and time again in that video that A Bug's Life is not a good movie. It is very, very, very average. But average doesn't cut it for this company. Even their like worst movies. You see, I expected a lot of Pixar films to be like either on the same level as this or below, like Brave, Monster University, or even Onward. But they actually were happened to all be better movies, especially Onward. So Bug's Life, for now, unless Pixar somehow makes a worse film, is the worst Pixar film, and it's the only one going in D tier. There it is. I mean, what do I even say about this film that I didn't already say? Most of the characters are idiots. The story is stupid. The animations are dated. Now, there are a few good things to this movie, like some other of the characters, like Flick, Dos, the circus bugs. Hopper is a pretty good villain. And I like the finale, and the death is kind of graphic, but it's just pales in comparison to Ants, which is a more of a risky film for an animation studio. It definitely takes more of a leap in what can be viewed for kids than Bug's Life. Now, I'm not saying that Bug's Life is bad. There are a few good things in it that keep it from being a bad film or even a 5. But a 6 just isn't going to cut it for this company. Now, of course, time to talk about uh, a, a great Pixar film, which is Toy Story 2. This is how you do a goddamn sequel. It is like, I watched this so many times when I was younger, and rewatching it, I definitely see why it's called the compelling sequel that it is. The message is a lot more unique than in the first. The message is basically about how do I explain it? It's basically if Woody wants to be in a museum where he's untouched and can be viewed by kids for generations, or he can go back to his current kid with brand new toys while still getting stitches and broken arms and stuff. The film was also a really good rescue mission where Buzz and a few of the other toys go on a good mission, on a very great mission in order to get Woody from the apartment of the fan man. I can't say fanboy because he's too old. Uh, and of course the stuff with Buzz and his like clone toy twin thing is just so hilarious, but it's nothing compared to what's going to be in the third movie. Trust me, this is literally nothing compared to that. But for the most part, this is a really enjoyable film. My only problem with it is I don't really like Jessie that much. I don't know, she just kind of gets on my nerves after so many years. But I also think that the twist villain is good. Yeah, there's a twist villain. I'm not going to say who, but if you know this movie, you probably know who. I give this film a push it in A tier. And there's a lot more A tier movies to come, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, so it goes right there in A tier. But trust me, we've got a lot more films to get through. Our next film, Monsters Inc., which is by far the funniest Pixar film of all time. I don't know how you can make a film this hysterical, but it succeeds in so many ways. The movie is an absolutely, like, it's so hilarious, but is there anything else aside from the humor? Yeah, it's really heartfelt. There's a lot of heartfelt moments between Sully and Boo, and of course Mike Wazowski is the meme that we all love. Uh, I also has a really good twist villain and has a really good allegory on corrupt CEOs. And yeah, I love this film so much. I can see why it's considered a classic by millions of people today. Of course, it took me a while to rewatch it, but I should have gone to it sooner because man, this is one heck of a film. I highly recommend it. For some reason, I never liked it when I was younger, but I think I was dumb back then because now I see the film for the true masterpiece that it is. Is it the best Pixar film? No. But is it one of the best Pixar films? Yes. And is it an S tier? Yes, 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 yes. This is an S tier movie by a landslide. Like, I don't know. When I watched this film, I was going to give it an 8.5, but then the score, the characters, the story, the world building. Good Christ, the world building is also really good. Everything about this film is great. If I have one teeny weeny little complaint, the animation is kind of outdated. Yeah, that's kind of inevitable, but I feel like with films like the Toy Story 1 and 2 and Bug's Life, they can be excused because they're from the 90s. This is from 2001. And yeah, it is still kind of unfair to call the animation bad, but is it really that much of a big deal anymore? Because this is a 2001 film, and computer animation is starting to get good. Which, speaking of, Finding Nemo, or Finding Nemo for all the reasons I pronounce it that way. Yeah, so Finding Nemo was another one of their classics. In fact, it was their highest-grossing film ever, but until I don't know what film, but yeah, it was also a really financially successful film, as I mentioned, and critically as well. In fact, you probably read it from here. It was the first Pixar film to win Best Animated Feature, but is it justified? Yeah, I mean, once you look at the competition, but I haven't looked at the competition, so yeah, I really like the scenery, like really love the scenery of the ocean. Yeah, sure, the humans still look kind of iffy, but that's kind of expected when it comes to this with computer animated films this early. Also, this is uh one of those Pixar films that has those really emotional scenes in like the beginning of the film, kind of like Up, which oh boy we will get to. Uh but yeah, I just don't really know how to describe this film. Uh, what else has people not said before? Now, of course, I still have a few negatives with the film. Like, it's called Finding Nemo, but he's not really lost in the ocean. The advertising presents it as if he's somewhere on the other side of on the Pacific Ocean, and they have to go looking for him. But no, he's stuck in the tank for the most of the film. I don't really enjoy the tank scenes that much. The humans really look unpleasant, especially the 8-year-old, like Jesus Christ. Also, it has some fart humor in it, and I really don't like that. It's really stupid and boring and tepid and immature for a company that made mother freaking Up. So yeah, there's a kind of negatives that bring it down to like only a 7, but it's a really good 7 at that. I definitely recommend this film, but I do warn you, it does have a very emotional scene at the beginning, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, it goes right there. Also, I'm going to have to cram a lot of this stuff in because it's going to be very hard for some other movies later on. But, like, speaking of, The Incredibles, another one of their most popular films. The film won another Academy Award aside from Best Animated Feature. Best Sound Editing, which is very unique. It was also the first Pixar film to be PG. It was also the first Pixar film to be orchestrated by Michael Giacchino. And it was also the first Pixar film to be not directed by a Pixar veteran. It's directed by Brad Bird, who directed The Iron Giant, which is a masterpiece of cinema. That was a bomb at the box office because people don't know what they like anymore, especially back in the 90s. Hold on, did it come out in the summer? If it didn't, that's understandable. It came out in August. Well, it was during the time where summer movies were very bad, as people said. So, yeah, I really like this film. The animation is kind of yeah. And this is one of the few superhero films I can actually tolerate. Now, I said it before. I'm going to say it again. I hate superhero movies, really do. I hate the genre as a whole. But I won't call them. But I'm not going to go as far as calling them not cinema. I'm not Martin Scorsese over here. But what I like about the film more than the superheroes is the character family drama in the first part, where it presents a really, like, how do I describe it? Really, how do I describe it? Really relatable thing to a lot of people, where they have to let go of their past in order to support his or her family. Of course, this is with superheroes, as they are banned for causing more destruction than villains do. Also, because it was a suicide man, but you can see why this film is rated PG. I also really like the screenplay a lot. The action sequences, the voice acting is stellar, especially Brad Bird as Edna, classic. The music is a bop, classic 60s aesthetic. In fact, I really love the 60s aesthetic in the first part with all the character drama, and it's really realistic to real family issues. In fact, it's too realistic, except it's done with superheroes. Like, come on. I really wait for the day that Pixar can make an R-rated family drama. But they can't make R-rated films because because Pixar is owned by Disney, who is the most happiest place on earth. Oh yeah, did you know that they made Big Hero 6 10 years later, and I think that this is just a smidge better than Big Hero 6 because it's an actual movie compared to Big Hero 6, which is just a Marvel product. Yeah. Also, this is actually an original film, not based on a previous product that no one's ever heard of before. So yeah, this goes above Toy Story but below Finding Nemo. And there's a little film in between that we will get to. But for now, moving on. Next up is Cars. Yes, Cars. The classic from 2006. Another one of their longest films. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this is where their films get really long. Now, Cars is considered their first flop. But honestly, I can't really go as far as to say it's a flop. I really like this movie. Of course, this is one of the first times where the world building is actually a fault. The world building in Pixar films, for the most part, is really well done, and it really gets you excited to go to this new world, or to go to a world that we already know, just with a few things tweaked. But here, the cars, are the humans. That's it. Of course, we all know about the controversy of the anatomy of the cars, but yeah. Now, I really like the animation. It's the first time where the animation really went above and beyond to be a lot better than usual. Like, really a lot better. But of course, you can't talk about this film without talking about the characters as well, which I like Lightning. I find his arrogance to be a little bit funny, and I like his character arc of becoming a better person. I find Mater funny. I like the side characters. I like Doc Hudson's backstory, which I won't go into, but you probably know at this point. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention The Incredibles. Good twist villain and very dark. This film doesn't have a twist villain, but it does have Chick Hicks, which is a classic in itself. Yeah, I really love the backgrounds. They're so majestic, especially when in Radiator Springs, which I don't know why a lot of people don't like. I really find this charming town, well, charming. It really gives that Western feel. For some reason, I call it a neo-Western film when it probably should be, because there's Western talking people, there's deserts. Yeah. Yeah, so I really like Cars. It's definitely a good film. Is it great? No. But is it good? Yeah. I'm putting this also in B tier. So lots of B tiers right now. But of course, we're now going on to another great movie, fantastic movie, Ratatouille. One of their best films. I love Ratatouille. It's such an artistically pleasing film. I can see why it's called a masterpiece now, and why I would call it a goddamn amazing masterpiece. Like, Jesus. I love this movie to death. The cooking scenes are like so satisfying to watch. The music is brilliant. The animation is really good, and the backgrounds are just stunning. I would have actually, you know what I've noticed with Pixar? They are the masters of wallpaper backgrounds. I mean, really think about it. They really are. Yeah. I also really like the characters, especially Remy and lots of other characters as well. I just love everything about this movie. I love everything about this movie except for one thing: the villain, if you can even call him that. He's a short little guy trying to, prove something. It's not really that interesting. It's kind of drags the film on for a bit. This is another one of those long Pixar films. It's really long. It's an hour 51 minutes. But I don't care about the runtime because this is still an amazing film. I highly recommend. It's so artistically pleasing to the eyes with everything. The animation, the cooking, the ending with ego, and it's just I love this film. It goes in another S tier. And we can only go up from here. Ratatouille to Wally. This movie I've loved since I was a child. A child who was not very experienced when it came to movies, but now I can see Wally for the complete and utter beauty it really is. I don't know how I went this long without discovering the true artistry of this film, but I love it to death. First off, it's a brilliant romance film. Like, and I do it without words. A lot of the first half of this movie is really silence, and I love it. And I love the movie's message about consumerism, and lots of other stuff as well. Which is funny because the company that owns Pixar is real life by and large, which I'm surprised was okay of making a film like this when they're literally the most consumerist, buy our products type company of all time, only tied with Illumination, who are known for shoving brand deals and brand recognition and their products in your face a lot, especially. But Disney is worse, especially with modern films like Frozen. But Wally, thank God, doesn't have this. The animation is some of Pixar's best, especially the stuff in space. And I really like the way that Earth looks. It's very dirty looking, but that's kind of the point. It's meant to look ugly as a way to show that the Earth is deserted. And it has an actual good environmental message, which nowadays is very hard to come across. Like, it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's the animation spectacular. The voice acting from the talking characters is really good. Sigourney Weaver has a role in this film as like the voice of the ship, the actual ship, and the score is amazing. Did I mention that the guy who scored this movie, Thomas Newman, also scored the Finding movies and 1917? You can definitely tell a lot, especially in Finding Dory, which we will get to. Yeah, so I put this film also in S tier, one of their best films. I have one little negative with the film. It's probably the robot villain. He's just kind of whatever. I don't really like him that much. It's just kind of there, I guess. Kind of a boring villain, twist villain. They could have done a lot more with him. They could have made his expression a lot more interesting, but he's just kind of an okay foil for the villains to get through. Yeah, so yeah, and now we move on to guess what. There's literally no competition. This is the best Pixar film. I love everything about this film. The animation, amazing. The score, beautiful. The characters, enjoyable. The story, unique. The opening, one of the best sequences in any film I've seen. The fact that it was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture is just a sight to behold in itself. like I'm s- I'm not surprised that it lost because the Hurt Locker came out. It's because war movie. But even if I watched the Hurt Locker, I think this movie will still be better. Even though the Hurt Locker is considered one of the best films of 2009, but I don't care. This movie is a masterpiece of cinema. It's an absolute, like, artistically brilliant film, and there's nothing wrong with this at all. If I can think of one tiny little nitpick that keeps it away from being, the best movie ever, is probably the weird, way that Carl and uh, Carl Fredricksen and Charles Muntz are the exact same age by the end of the film, which doesn't make a lot of sense because in the beginning they look roughly different ages when he's a kid and he's still an adult. And yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It's kind of a nitpick. But other than that, amazing, amazing. 10 out of 10, top of the tier list, best Pixar film of all time. I love it. It's an absolute brilliance, brilliance upon brilliance. Alright, now we have Toy Story 3, another Best Picture nominee. And whereas I think the other one is justified, oh yeah, Toy Story 3 is still a really good movie, but would I call it one of the best Pixar films? No, not really. Not at all. It's a good movie. The message is really good. It's about Woody trying to see if he wants to go in a kindergarten and be played with forever by different kids over different generations, or if he wants to go with Andy to college and be stuck in a box in the top of a college dorm. It's a really compelling uh situation for the character for Woody to go through, and also I like the twist villain. The animation is really good. The ending is, well, one call it emotional, like the one for Up. It is still really good and a really good way to cap off this franchise until the fourth one came out, which we will get to. Uh, my main problem with the film is the dark tone. I don't dig it. Whereas a film like Lightyear, the dark tone works. For this film, it really doesn't. It really doesn't fit the film that well. Also, I think the film solely got nominated for Best Picture just because of the ending. I could see why a lot of people love this film and call it one of the best Pixar films. So I have it on DVD myself. But I don't know, it's just kind of a their film. I can definitely see why people love it and appreciate it for being a great film. But me personally, it could have been a little bit better in the story department and the tone department. But for the most part, this is a really good film. Uh, Buzz Lightyear Spanish elevates his film to like legendary status. Spanish Buzz is like the funniest thing Pixar has ever done. Yeah, so this goes in B tier. I know it's kind of shocking, kind of sort of what's the word? Blasphemy for me to put this film that low on the list. But don't get me wrong, a lot of the movies from Pixar are really good. So a bad film like A Bug's Life is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. Because we don't want to find the needle. You want to get as far away from it as possible, and just take the haystack with you with the needle inside of it. And we got more needles with a few string of average films, starting with the most famous bad Pixar film of all time, Cars 2. This is a movie that's quite famous for being a very hated Pixar film. Dare I say, a very hated animated film. It's considered one of the worst Pixar films of all time, if not the worst. But yeah, this is a very, very whatever film. I can see why some people like it. Like, the animation is really good and sort of an upgrade, and I think Mater is a tolerable enough character. And I think that the spy story can sometimes get very unique, but the spy cars that Mater is with are so unbelievably stupid, it's actually hysterical. that they're so unbelievably idiotic to believe that Mater is actually a spy, and they constantly believe this throughout the entire film. Lightning McQueen is just kind of mean spirited. The twist villain is predictable. It's just, I don't know. They could have. It's a really good idea. A world pre, but they had to just throw in a spy movie in between. It's a Mater Telltale movie, and it really doesn't deserve to be. This is the least of the 6.5s, but we can only go up from here, whatever the hell that means, because believe it or not, we're going on to another sucky Pixar film, Brave. This is another 6.5er, but it's not as 6.5er as Cars 2 or another film that's also 6.5, but Brave is just a little bit better in my opinion. The animation is really stunning, but the story is a complete and utter mess, and the characters is just they're just whatever. The advertising presents Merida as this unique princess that fights for herself, but she fights twice in the film, and once she fights, she's not very good at it. There's a cool scene where she shoots an arrow through another arrow, and it's really cool. I also think that the movie's really funny, and I think it has a good twist of who Mordu really is. But but the characters and story derail the film so much that it's just really, really, really stupid. I really don't like this film. I also love the fact that they fired Brenda Chapman in order to bring in some rando who's literally said in an interview that this film has nothing to do with gender, when a story about a princess that's trying to assert her independence by not wanting to be a princess is definitely a gender-based story. You 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 dickwad. Oh my god, what do I even say about this film? It's not terrible. I can see why people like it, but me personally, best animated feature, that's cap. That's complete cap. So yeah, this goes in another C tier, and guess what? At least we're getting a little bit better. Monster University, woohoo! Yeah, another 6.5 film. Oh my god, I want to die. Yeah, Monster University isn't doing anything better. I like the addition to the world building, and it really makes it a very unique from the first. But Sully's too much of an unlikable asshole to actually appreciate the film. The story is good at first, but then they leave, but then they get kicked out of the scare program. Now they have to do this scare games thing, and it's just really stupid and annoying and predictable, and you know who's gonna win. Also, I like Mike Wazowski's character arc of discovering that even though he's not scary, he's a really good scarer coach. But like, I would be scared if I saw this one-eyed green bowling ball come up to my bed and try to scare me, even if I am very hard to wake up. But you know what I don't find scary? The other guys, especially the one with the two massive legs, the purple guy, voiced by Charlie Day. I don't know how anyone would find him scary, but apparently they do, and I don't find Mike scary. The kids in the camp are not finding Mike scary, and they just find him adorable. Yippee! The Dean is fine enough character. The animation is really good, especially the shadows, but I don't know. It's just a really stupid film. It's just most of the characters are annoying or unlikable. The story doesn't make as good at first and really great at the end, but in the middle it's just kind of drag along and it's just really annoying. The film is very this is not a good film compared to the first. You could have done a lot with a Monsters Inc. sequel, like them visiting Boo in the human realm, and them visiting the human realm, and them going around trying to disguise and when they try to look for a bit. That could have been a much better sequel, but no, we have to do the bare minimum and do a film where we're just in a college like every other 80s college film. Here it is in the yeah. Hopefully, I don't have to review another crap film next. Oh my god! I said I. Yeah, and we're back to good films now. Yay! Inside Out is a good movie. It is a great movie. I, if I do say so myself. Yeah. So for whatever reason, uh, Pixar decided to make a good movie for once. I mean, they did get Pete Docter to direct it, so I mean, with him, anything is possible. And of course, the film is great. I like the idea of emotions, and how it was like if our emotions had like emotion that's really unique, and I like it. The emotion is really there. I like Joy's character arc of realizing that she's selfish by doing what she's actually doing. I don't get the people that call her a freaking uh a villain, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. How was this like? How was this rated PG? It doesn't make any sense. But I don't care. This movie is great. It's hysterical. It has really good slapstick. I like the characters, and their arcs. I like the two worlds aesthetic, the real world and the mindscape. I like the different minds, and yeah, this is just a unique film for Pixar to make. Very abstract, unique, funny, zany, relatable. If I had one problem with the film, it could have been a little bit longer, and it shouldn't have been rated PG. Uh, and yeah, I really enjoyed this film, and it's like I don't know why. I mean I do know why. I just explained why, but yeah, this is a great film, and I highly recommend it. All right, what's our next film? Oh boy, there's Inside Out, and here's The Good Dinosaur. Oh boy, this is another of a drag film. A film that tries to be a good film, but it's just trying so less that's actually hysterical. I don't know what people see in this film. It's just a tech demo for landscapes. That's pretty much what this film is. Just a really boring tech demo for landscapes, and it's not enjoyable at all. It's just kind of really stupid. Um, of course, the actual landscapes are pretty good, but like that's pretty much it. It's just the landscapes. It's just landscapes throughout the entire movie. Just landscapes and landscapes and more landscapes. It's all landscapes. The characters are fine for what they are. I like the message of facing your fears. I feel like also this kids film that has like very cutesy designs for the main characters. But there are a lot of violent moments in the film that definitely make the film very graphic. Like they actually show blood in this in a very non-violent way. Yeah, I don't know. I just really don't know. What do I say about this film? It's such a forgettable, boring ass film. And I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I just don't know. I don't know what to think of this shallow, corporate film. It could have been good, but I feel like it was a production of bad history. And it just really derails the film a lot deeper than it actually has to be. Yeah, so the movie is kinda a movie. Yeah, so this movie is top of C tier. Woohoo! And we're now through most of the C tier movies. We got one more to do. And so now we're back to good movies again. Yay! Finding Dory is better than the first. Ba ba ba. Yeah, I don't know why, but I really enjoyed this film a lot more than the first for some reason. Now, I'm not saying that I dislike the first any less. I'm just saying that I find the sequel more enjoyable. And I also what I like about the film is that it's a lot more dramatic than the first. Yeah, sure, the first has this fair share of comedic, dramatic moments, but this film has more dramatic moments. In fact, it's actually what I would consider one of the saddest Pixar films. The score is better than the original. The animation is, of course, better than the original. Everything's better than the goddamn original. I also love this film and its encouragement towards people with disabilities. Of course, it doesn't. I have a disability, autism, and this film definitely inspires me to do great things, even if it's not mentioned in the actual film. With Dory, with her, what's this again? Short-term memory loss, Hank missing an arm, Destiny, having bad eyesight, and the Ty Burrell guy losing his echolocation briefly, which is definitely not very relatable. But people have echolocation, let them be them. If I have a problem with the film, I think it's a problem that everyone has. Dory gets convenient flashbacks too many times throughout the film. Marlon kind of has sort of lashes at Dory a bit too early on in the film. It's kind of out of character for him. And I appreciate the film having a more, uh, actually taking place in more than just an aquarium and just a fish tank. It goes around an aquarium, but still finding Dory. They're not really finding. They're in the exact same location. They just have to journey. They just have to journey across this one location in order to get to another location. And just blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this goes in the top of B tier. It's the best B tier film, and I highly recommend it. Really highly recommend it. Yeah, so anyway, moving on, we have Cars 3, which is the film that's in between Finding Nemo and The Incredibles, that one missing gap. Also, just realized that I may have put this a little bit too short, so I'm just going to put squiggles. That's good enough. Yeah, so Cars 3. It's better than Cars 2, but it's worse than the first. It has the best animation, and I like the message about stuff. It has a similar message to Monster University, where it's like finding meaning in something, finding meaning in something else, in something that you love. Of course, everyone says that Lightning McQueen is getting old when he looks and sounds exactly the same as he did in the original, which makes little to no sense. But oh, what do I care? It's Cars. It doesn't make any sense at all. It never did, never will. So yeah, I really enjoy this film. It's a really enjoyable feature film. The animation is brilliant. It's really funny. I like the message about finding a meaning in something that you love that's not the original thing that you had. This goes in a B tier. But of course, we go from a very well-known Pixar film to an even more well-known Pixar film that's considered a masterpiece. Coco. Yeah, Coco is Poco Loco. It's a good film. A great film. An amazing film. A near-perfect film. It could have been a little bit better in the comedy department, and it's the idea of like his family hating music, just being the typical family that doesn't like music, sort of predictable. But they drop that plot real fast when they actually go to the Day of the Dead, and Jesus Christ, it's beautiful. It's the most stunning background Pixar's ever done for a movie since like Ratatouille, and that's a lot, and that's saying a damn lot. I like the music is great. I like how they uses a lot of Spanish actors, with only one exception, as Benjamin Brass as Ernesto de la Cruz. Uh, the animation, as I've already mentioned, is stunning. I love the characters, the music, the voice acting, the freaking ending. I got teary eyed at the ending. It's such a beautiful film and a great way of presenting Mexican culture in a film without being, overtly shoving it in your face like. So yeah, this film goes in A tier. A classic for the ages, and definitely I highly recommend it. And we're back to crap. Incredibles 2. Yikes. Whereas I like the first film fine, I'm shocked to see how people actually enjoy this film. It's fine, I guess. It's definitely the longest Pixar film. It's an hour 57 minutes. I like how most of the voice actors return. I like Bob Odenkirk. The animation is really good. But I don't know, Bob was just really unlikable as this as he's jealous of his wife's success and he's a stuck at home parent. Uh, I feel like the twist villain and her motivation and her motivation is just really bad and it's stupid and crap and I hate it and it's just really annoying. That really drags the film down. And whereas in the first film, the character drama was able to balance out the superhero stuff, which is why I gave it a higher rating. This is all superheroes, and it really drives me insane to a point where I actually miss Syndrome killing all the superheroes. I want Syndrome to come back and murder half of these guys. They're irritating to my core, especially the new ones, who the designs look so terrible. I'm surprised they didn't come out a goddamn food fight. Come on, this is directed by Brad Bird again, who directed the first film and the Iron Giant and Ratatouille, which are all great films, especially Ratatouille. Okay, Incredibles maybe not, but it's a good film. Ratatouille is a masterpiece. This is not. It's crap. It sucks. It's a 6.5. It goes here in C tier. That's C tier done. Boom. Next film. I can't talk about this stupid, immature, annoying film anymore. Good animation, but unlikable characters and just a really stupid twist film. Anyway, let's go to what a great film actually is again. Toy Story 4. Yeah, Toy Story 4. Now, this is one of the most overhated Pixar films, and honestly, I feel like the hate is really not justified. How do people hate this film? It's a masterpiece. The ending is emotional. It has another good message for toys. What if the new kid that you went to doesn't like you anymore? Maybe you should just get lost and become a lost toy now. Woody's character arc of trying to decide if he wants to get back to being Bonnie's toy, or if he wants to become a lost toy with Bo Peep, who returns as she was absent from the third film. It's nice to see her back. I also like the new characters, like the cute plushies voiced by Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, the classics from Key and Peele, which also has the classic AA Ron sketch. Masterpiece of comedy. Tim Allen just doesn't really sound old, and yeah, that's really my only complaint. Tim Allen, Buzz, he's just not really that doing that well for me. Also, I love the stereotypical Canada guy voiced by Keanu Reeves. Is it Keanu Reeves? It is Keanu Reeves. You would have thought. Yeah, so Keanu Reeves is hilarious. And yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I don't know why everyone hates this. It's such a great film. The ending is emotional. It's hysterical. It looks amazing. And the music is a bop. I don't know why. But yeah, this is the most realistic looking Pixar film to date until, Soul came out, which we will get to. Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is a fantastic film. That tier. A tier. Alright. Next we have another, okay, not a bad film, but it's another 7.5er. Onward. I thought this film was going to be at the same level as the 6.5s or even worse than A Bug's Life, but it surprised me. It was a really good emotional film. I really wish Ian could have seen the dad at the end. I watched it when I was younger and I was enraged at the daddy and I didn't see his dad, but now I realize maybe that's kind of a good thing. I don't know. Chris Pratt, I didn't really find that enjoyable. You could definitely see the energy behind the camera, behind the animation, but I don't know. It was just I didn't really find Barley that interesting. I like Ian a lot more. Also, I like the idea of a fantasy world losing its fantasy and just becoming our world, just with mythical creatures like centaurs, elves, manticores, fairies, all that type of stuff. But yeah, the quest is just your typical quest. I like the final battle a lot. The animation is really good as per usual with Pixar. I don't like the idea that that the fairies just whenever characters that have lost their magic come into contact with Ian and Barley, they suddenly gain their magic again. It's just really repetitive. Also, apparently, this is the first Pixar film with LGBTQ representation, and this is also when Bob Chapek became CEO. So, and that was definitely an omen of how homophobic the company would become. But hey, I'm only a critic. I'm not a person that reviews films from a company that's become a disaster. Huh? What? Hey, who? What? Huh? He, ho, he. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So this is definitely one of their most recent films. It's from the same decade as we are in right now. But yeah, it could have done a little bit better in the story. Chris Pratt could have been a little bit more likable and better. Uh, and the plot couldn't have been so repetitive, and the quests could have been a little bit less predictable. But yeah, this is goes in a B tier, and I think we might be done with the B tiers because now we're on uh A tier for the rest of the video, starting with Soul, which is what I consider the beginning of their what's it called? Their experimental era. From Soul onwards, just does include Lightyear, they've been experimenting with new styles, new characters, new everything. It's all new. And I really enjoy that. What I like about this unique thing that they're doing with these films is that they're usually more centric with other cultures, like Soul with black people, Luca with Italians, Turning Red with Asians, and Lightyear with, I don't know, gay people, I guess. But Soul's the beginning of this, and it is arguably the best. It would have been better as an R-rated film, but hey, what do I know? I really like the concept. It's a lot more of a mature theme than Pixar's done before. But of course, the best part of the movie, aside from the beautiful animation, the sharp writing, the good humor, the music, man. Oh my god, the music. It's like, I love jazz. I don't listen to it, but I love it. Sometimes I do. Beautiful. This movie's all about jazz, but also has really good piano music from the guys who composed The Social Network. That's right, The Social Network, which is one of my favorite movies. So this is an absolute win-win. A negative I had with the film, and this is a really big negative. My only negative, but it's a big one that really derails the film, is that the main character turns into a cat for most of the film, which could be fine. But this is the third time Disney done this. They did it with Brother Bear, where the main character turns into a bear, and they did it with Princess Frog, where Tiana turns into a frog. Is it kind of suspicious that this is the third time Disney had turned a racially different character into an animal? Oh well, nothing that I have to talk about. I'm not talking about racism in my channel, because if I do, I will get shot by YouTube. And I already got enough bullet holes in me from all the copyright claim I've had, so a strike will not be very nice. It's a bullet hole to the balls. But yeah, this is a really enjoyable film. Beautiful animation, amazing score, likable characters, but kind of a messy middle that really derails the film a bit. This goes in A tier, as I said before. Next up is Luca, which is the first film from Enrico Casarosa, who directed a short film called La Luna, released in 2011. It is a similar style, but what I love about this film is that it's a lot more laid back than a lot of their later films are, or previous films, or all their films. It takes its time. It's a lot more of a simple story about sea creatures wanting to just get a Vespa. That's it, they just want to get a Vespa. I like the relationship between the two main characters. I like the dad, Massimo, such a hilarious name. I like the villain. He's just a typical cocky child. He's not like a super villain that has to like destroy the planet. No, it's just a regular jackass who thinks he's so hot crap, but he's not. He's just a regular neighborhood jackass. Also, I love the animation. There's a lot of scenes where the characters like daydream about different things, and it's really unique, and it goes into an even more simple style than the animation already is. With that said, I like the animation's simple style. It's a lot more simple than a lot of later Pixar films, and it definitely looks a lot more animated. Whereas a lot of Pixar films or a lot of animated films nowadays, especially from Disney, are trying to look the most realistic thing ever. Might as well make them live action while you're at it. But yeah, this film is definitely a great film. If I had to complain a little bit, I think that the parents are just sort of whatever. I don't really like Julia that much. Kind of just a nice, likable character. Not really the best. The score's really good. Not amazing. Not anything spectacular from Pixar standards. So yeah, this goes in another A tier. What a shock. Now, time for the most divisive Pixar film of all time, Turning Mother Cocking Red. Holy hell, this was one film of a lifetime. When I originally watched it, I gave it like what, a 7. I thought it was just too weird for Pixar to make. But then in my rewatch, I realized, and it clicked with me. That's the point. It's meant to be weird because they're presenting a time where weirdness was everything, and they're presenting an age in where people are acting weird. It's really good. It's relatable. The animation is amazing. It's really stunning, especially the end. The characters are really likable. I like the idea of this panda curse going through all the women in the family as a nice subtle way of talking about a period, or a number 3 as I like to call them. If I have one complaint, then it could have been a little bit longer, and some of the characters could have been less unlikable. Like Tyler, I know he has a redemption arc, but like, come on. Also, the mother is kind of overbearing sometimes, and sometimes it just really confuses me. But for the most part, this is a great film that I highly recommend to some people because it is a very subjective film. It's crazy, it's insane, it's it's balls to the wall nuts. It's it's hysterical. I laughed a lot at this film. It has songs from Billie Eilish, which just is even funnier. And it's the first Pixar film to have a female director that wasn't kicked off the movie because John Lasseter was part of it. If John Lasseter made this movie, he would have just stopped it on the day it first started. Because it's John Lasseter, everybody. The degenerate that messed with Pixar in the later years and was kicked out and moved to an animation studio because they thought it would be a good brand recognition. But they realized it was a mistake. A very, very big mistake. So yeah, this goes in A tier. And our final film of the day, Lightyear, their latest film. Now this was a box office flip. It wasn't that successful. In fact, a lot of their animated films this year were not successful. Why was Turning Red in streaming while this wasn't? This is a streaming movie for definition. It was a disaster anyway, so what was the point? Yeah, so Lightyear is even more subjective than Turning Red. A lot of people really hated it when it came out, but I thought it was really great. Even when I rewatched it back at home when it came on Disney Plus. I don't know, it was just a really enjoyable film. For the most part, I like the darker tone. Unlike Toy Story 3, I like the twist. A lot of people really hated, but I thought it was pretty good. And yeah, this is just the animation is spectacular. I like the environments, and it's not as colorful as the previous Pixar films. The part where it faults is the comedy. This is not a film that needs any comedy. It's not. It's most of the parts just most of the time it's just not really that funny. Although I will say that the score is really good as well. Not Michael Giacchino's best, but considering the stuff this guy has composed, yeah, it's really great. And so I put Lightyear in A. Not one of their best films. It is probably the worst A tier, but it is an A tier, and that is an accomplishment. A massive one at that. So yeah, that is every Pixar film ranked. If you think I'm gonna remake this with other Pixar films, you bet no, I'm not doing that. I'll make a slight update every time I do a review of Pixar film, but for the most part, it's just yeah, I'm not gonna be doing that. So this is my current list for now, unless I uh change this sometimes. So Up, Wall-E, Ratatouille, and Monsters Inc. are in S tier. In A tier, you have Toy Story 2, Coco, Soul, Turning Red, Toy Story 4, Inside Out, Luca, Lightyear. In B tier, you have Finding Dory, Toy Story 3, Onward, Cars, Finding Nemo, Cars 2, The Incredibles, and Toy Story. In C tier, you have The Good Dinosaur, Monster University, Brave, The Incredibles 2, and Cars 2. And then in D tier, you have A Bug's Life, being the worst one. Yeah, so that's basically my list. I hope you enjoyed this completely very long video. This is nothing compared to the My Thoughts of episode that I actually previously made. Like, this is episode 50 and the best films I've seen made videos. We're all like only very like they were very short compared to what the point is they were very short. That's all I'm gonna say. They were very, very short. They're only 25 minutes. This is an hour long, and you can definitely see why. So yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to do this for a while back, but I'm giving a shout out to Owen for suggesting the Tetris on the Game Boy Color. It's 3 weeks overdue, so yeah. Sorry, Harry, but better luck this time. Please don't hate me. They're both friends in my school, so they're both subscribed to my channel. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this behemoth of a video. It was definitely a lot longer than my usual videos. Big freaking shock there. But I hope you enjoyed this more unique ranking video. I wanted this to be the best it could be. I didn't want to pack all the punches and just make this as short as humanly possible. I wanted to really talk in detail about what I think of these films. And should I do another one of these rankings? No, absolutely not. I'm never doing this ever again. You can screw that if you think I'm going to do this. But this is just an experiment. I might do it in the future, but it's not likely. Very not likely. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this behemoth of a video. It was very enjoyable to make for the most part, and decided to talk about crap films again, which I really didn't want to, but so well, what can you do? So I'm gonna be uploading this on the this uploaded on the 24th. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more unique content, and thank you Daniel Gallagher for suggesting the idea in the first place. I love you all, and goodbye.